Hello people of YouTube, my name is Wayne and I run the Let's Play Cat gaming channel on the internet, and what you're about to hear is a true horror story about the time I was suddenly teleported through my TV screen and into the world of Skyrim and forced to both survive and try to find a way out. Like many, I became addicted to Skyrim and was going about a usual massacre in Whiterun when a white light appeared and dragged me into the TV screen. I then found myself grasping a Daedric greatsword just as it was completing the beheading of a poor innocent villager. It only took me a few moments to make sense of what had just happened. Now, for literally years of virtual crimes against humanity and a huge bounty, my real life was destined to pay the price. I knew that my first real life Skyrim task was to kill that annoying priest for morbidly telling that guy I'd just beheaded to rise. What a twat. Lopped his head clean off like Mr. Bean's teddy getting trapped in a drawer. I looked around in awe and disbelief. I was in Skyrim, and then it hit me. I had never not once fed my Skyrim character, and now I was him, complete with his hunger. Starving, with my belly growling like a newly hatched chick, I dragged my hungry ass to the market, murdered the fat bitch behind the desk, and started munching on her cabbages and potatoes like an insatiable herbivore. It was only with a full belly that my head was clear. Looking at the effects of my Whiterun murder spree, both in-game and real life with my own eyes, and realising how high my bounty was, I knew I had to conceal the evidence. So, one by one, I tossed the bodies of the victims of my brutal crimes into the water system, including their heads, just to make sure that their ghosts didn't come back and start walking into things, because that would be horrible. I then proceeded to take cover in some lavender that I just found, which I liked the smell of, so I robbed that, not realising I had just blown my cover. I did a runner, and then Captain Commander Von Bastard appeared seemingly out of nowhere, collared me and tried to take me to jail. I was having none of it. I knocked the fucker out, kicked his teeth in, and hid behind a well-placed smelter like a metal crafting ninja. He worked a treat. When he woke up, he casually walked away, seemingly forgetting that I existed. I must have given him a concussion from the full force of my disgustingly rock-hard punch. As I watched Captain Von Bastard walk away, I knew I had to leg it. If I stayed in Whiterun any longer, I was definitely going to be locked in Dragon's Reach in real life, and, pressing my nipples in to no effect, I realised that I didn't have a wait button, and I wasn't ready to grow old and haggard in a jail cell with only one lockpick when, in real life, I struggled enough to get into my flat with my actual keys. The chances of me escaping a prison cell with a fucking Allen key and some wire were slim to none. So, it was then that I decided to leave Whiterun behind and become a fugitive. Apparently, even Skyrim in real life has stupidly long loading times. As I left, I took an arrow to the knee and guards were tailing me from all directions. My exit had not gone unnoticed. I suddenly learned how to command my sweet dragon magic and used it to knock some cocky prick off a cliff. I got proper into the zone and jumped off after him and murked him off like a Friday night pizza. I did a runner towards the stables and then noticed a farmer. I remember before I got teleported into the game that I was on a quest where I had to get some farmer blood, so I murked that fucker off as well, good and proper like. However, the option to harvest his blood did not pop up. Da fuck, I wondered to myself, so I ate his cheese, downed his bottle of mead, robbed his keys, and then accessed my real life Skyrim menu by opening my pocket to see what had gone wrong. As it turns out, I made a naughty error. I needed Falmer blood, not farmer blood. Fuck. There's another innocent geezer added to my ever-growing real life murder list. With epic chase music still playing, I decided to seek refuge on a horse and carriage and disguise myself as an immigrant. Then I accidentally killed that guy as well. Fuck, I said to myself. I decided to commandeer the horse and carriage myself. I took to the driver's seat ready to make haste. Fly, Shadowfax, I screamed in attempts to make the horse leg it into the sunset, but he did nothing of the sort, and instead I just bounced up and down like a trampoline owner. Behind me, I heard some shirty dickhead pipe up. My brilliant cover was blown again. So, I fucking massacred him with one mighty blow and then robbed his horse. Finally, I was ready to leave my brutal past in Whiterun behind and start anew. After all, I had no idea how long I was going to be stuck in Skyrim at all. The road was unkind to myself and Shadowfax too, and my eyes were becoming heavy. In the distance, I saw a farmhouse and decided I would attempt to take refuge there for a little while. There was a lone cow shackled in a tiny fenced-off area, begging for help. I knew I had to take action to try and redeem my criminal past from 10 minutes ago. I bounced over the fence like a knight in shining armour and started fucking up some evil chicken. Then, this woman started bouncing on my horse and I got attacked by a cabbage. As she dodged my attack without moving a muscle, it became clear that she was an evil witch. "You're an evil witch," I screamed, and she ran off, her cover blown, but I was hot on her tail like a very hot tail. I blocked her exit, but a guard ran to her aid. They had found me. My horse was going batshit mad. I know Shadowfax 2, I shouted. We have to save the cow. Channeling some massive fuck-off demon from gigantic demon land, I swung my sword and the guard flew off like Team Rocket. Me and Shadowfax 2 did a runner to find that witch, and when we found her, she admitted to her murderous crimes, but it was too late for her. Still channeling the same massive fuck-off demon, I smashed her face in and sent her flying, the evil bitch. Shadowfax 2 and I were quick to enter the prison where Mr. Cow was being held. We rescued him, but it was much too late. "Wayne," he said in a haggard voice, "the evil witch poisoned me. I'm fucked, mate." I was distraught, telling you. "Please rescue my pregnant wife, who is also being held hostage, and give her this message. I ate the last of the Cheerios, but please look after our calf. Call him Dave, after my father, and his father before him, and his father's grandmother," the cow concluded, and he lowered his head, resigning himself to death. So I fucking murked him off as well, and then sadly when I'm away, a free man, the mountains before me in search of Dave's pregnant wife. Shadowfax 2 was struggling with the guilt of killing an innocent cow. "It's alright, mate, we will redeem ourselves by saving his wife," I said, but it was no use. I stopped to ask a chicken for directions, but it turned out to be an evil chicken who was mates with that witch, so I fucked him up good and proper as well. When I turned around after killing that evil bastard chicken, I saw that the guilt had gotten to Shadowfax 2 so much that he was walking away with the intention of killing himself. He'd even left a suicide note. I chased after him and tried to stop him, but it was no use. He'd gone insane from guilt and shame. "No!" he cried before attacking me, his oldest and dearest friend of 10 minutes or so. A big fuck-off battle ensued that took us all over the world twice until we finally ended up wrestling in a river. After some sweet dragon magic that knocked him clean out lock, I put my blade to him and killed him. As I watched as my old mate floated away to horsey heaven, I decided to sing his favourite song about potatoes in the style of Vic Reeves club singing. Jacques Potato, Jacques Potato, Jacques Potato and beans. I also took his favourite steel arrow, determined to one day give it to someone worthy. Rest in peace, compadre. Then a fucking dragon appeared out of nowhere. Then the fucking Whiterun guards found me again. Fucking hell, can I get a moment's peace? It appeared my luck was running dry. I dispatched of the Whiterun guard and headed to the location of the dragon. Then I found her. "Mrs. Cow," I cried, "we have to get out of here. I have a message from your husband." Then I tried to mount her and ride away, but it didn't work. She was too frightened by that gigantic lizard thing floating about breathing fire. She legged it towards the gate. I opened it to set her free, but just as I did, the dragon dropped from the sky about to gobble up her fine rump steak like a fine rump steak. I threw myself in front of her fine rump steak to protect her fine rump steak, but as I did, a guard threw himself in front of me, sacrificing himself so me and Mrs. Cow could go free. Had Whiterun finally forgiven my crimes? I wasn't hanging about to find out. Me and Mrs. Cow legged it to the water with the intentions of commandeering a ship so that we could make our escape and become pirates. Then Mrs. Cow suddenly stopped at the water's edge, remembering that she couldn't swim, and then guards popped up out of nowhere and started going at us like vultures. Turns out they hadn't forgiven me after all. I fucking killed them all off while Mrs. Cow took swimming lessons, and just as she had earned her Teddy Bear 1 and Teddy Bear 2 and crossed the river, the dragon popped up out of nowhere again. We narrowly cheated death and continued legging it. I heard her cry back, "Wayne, if I don't make it out here alive, please take a message to my other son, Dave." "Your other son is also called Dave?" I inquired. "Yes," she replied. "All cows are called Dave, including me." The dragon was still hot on our tail as the epic music was playing in the sky. "Tell Dave to not trust them. They're going to kill him and eat his fine rump steak like a fine rump steak. Please, Wayne, rescue my Dave." "I will," I shouted back as she sprinted on ahead. I also tried to ride her again a number of times, but she was having none of it. Just when it looked like we finally made it out safe and sound, Dave's bottle went and she forgot how to swim. The dragon flew down and killed her, and I was livid and again began channeling my proper well-oiled demon powers. "No, Dave!" I cried as I ate her fine rump steak. Charging through his fishy breath, I ran in with a couple of beastly foul slashes from my brutal sword, and he fucking shit himself and legged it. Then he crashed into a mountain and died, so I absorbed his souls. I returned to Mrs. Dave in the river and sang her a song once again about potatoes. Jacques Potato, Jacques Potato and beans. A guard tried to desecrate her corpse, and Dave found me again as well, so I was well pissed off, so I fucked him up good and proper as well. Taking my chances on the road, I found some bloke, killed him and chucked him in the river and watched him float away. Then, crossing a nearby bridge, I hit the road again, hell-bent on finding other Dave Jr., telling him about his parents' great sacrifice and rescuing him from his beefy imprisonment before it was too late. After what seemed like days on the road, even though it was only about 10 minutes, I saw a farmhouse in the distance and a nearby cow. Could that be Dave Jr., I thought to myself? And it was. Dave, I said as I approached him, and I told him the story of his parents and what his captors were going to do to him. He didn't believe me, telling me that they had kept him well fed and happy. He told me that if I could give him some proof that his captors were evil, he would leave. I checked out his fine rump steak and it was indeed a fat one. They were making him a chunky monkey so they could nom on his booty. I had to get him out there. I owed a debt to his parents, Dave and Mrs. Dave, and his dead unborn brother Dave. I approached one of the women and took a job on the farm harvesting leeks in an attempt to gain their trust. So, I did all my jobs like a good boy, and then I recognised Gwendolyn's ass. It looked like a Battleborn ass. Holy shit, I recalled, as I remembered I had murked off a Battleborn earlier called John. See, told ya. Therefore, it was only a matter of time before my cover was blown here as well. Hell-bent on rescuing other Dave Jr. and making it out of here alive myself, I started chatting a lot of bollocks about a magic leak I had found over there by that rock. She went to check it out. I got my ninja sneak on and started stalking after her like an overly intelligent lion. "Hey, there's no magic leak here," she shouted, but as she turned around, murder was all she wrote as I fucking stabbed her up like a common thug, going off on one in the town centre because his dole ain't gone in. I nommed on a cheese, robbed the keys and headed back to the farm. I chatted even more bollocks to her sister about the other one telling me to go into the house and make myself a cup of tea because I've been working my tits off, to be fair. She was like, "Yeah, no worries bro, go in and make yourself at home." I took one last look at other Dave Jr., robbed some wine off a barrel and then went into the gaff determined to find some evidence of their guaranteed future Dave slaughter. As I was making myself at home with some sweet dragon magic, some Dave ribs fell from the sky. That was all the evidence I needed. Proof that a Dave of the past had lived there and had been murdered for food. I was like, fuck this shit, and then I started fucking up their shit even more out of anger for Dave. There was nothing in that gaff I didn't fuck up, including a cabbage that looked at me funny and threatened to tell on me. After I'd finished, I headed back outside with my evidence. As soon as I was outside though, I couldn't contain my rage. With all the evidence I need, I legged it towards that other bitch and fucked her up as well. Then I stabbed her up and I was all like, "This is for the Daves," and she was dead. I headed to Dave's prison and started telling him about the proof, about his parents and my journey so far. He thanked me and told me that he was going to start a new life in the city and become a big shot gangster. I was like, fair play, all the luck to you mate. Then I gave him Shadowfax 2's favourite steel arrow, passing on the torch, and I also gave him an apple pie and some wine for his travels. Then, opening the gate, I let him say his goodbyes to his farm and his family before going on his travels to live out his dreams. "Goodbye, Dave," I shouted back. "Goodbye, Wayne," he shouted back to me as I took one last glance at my redemption. And that, my friends, concludes the first epic tale of the time I woke up and found myself in Skyrim. With a long way to go in pursuit of freedom, as well as my attempts to get back to the real world, which I did eventually obviously, I hit the road again, curious as to what the future may bring. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment below for more tales of the time I found my real bad self in the world of Skyrim. Till next time folks, Wayne here for the Let's Play Gaming channel, saying goodbye.